Welcome to Direct Approach, a bi-weekly podcast hosted by Wayne Moorhead, filled with timely insights, fresh perspectives, and actionable takeaways from your direct selling executive peers to help fuel the growth and evolution of your business. On this episode, Wayne is joined by Heidi Leist, the founder and CEO of Lemongrass Spa. Heidi's journey from crafting toxin-free skincare products at home to building a thriving business underscores her unwavering commitment to product excellence and customer satisfaction. Her astute market insight and innovative product development strategies have positioned Lemongrass Spa as a trailblazer in offering natural, high-quality skincare solutions. Heidi's dedication to maintaining the brand's integrity and fostering customer loyalty has been instrumental in shaping the company's success, and her leadership continues to inspire entrepreneurs in the direct selling sector, reflecting her profound impact on the industry. So if you are looking for fresh new ideas when it comes to product promotions and customer and consultant retention, you'll gain powerful insights in this new episode of the Direct Approach podcast. But before we begin, we'd like to thank this episode's sponsor, PayQuicker. Your business moves fast, but is your money keeping up? PayQuicker's award-winning solution lets your business make payouts across the globe instantly. Send payments to over 200 countries and territories in more than 80 currencies through PayQuicker's secure API, with funds available to spend immediately. PayQuicker is a fully customizable white-label payment platform allowing you to offer branded debit cards, instant virtual cards, global bank transfers, mobile wallets, cash, and more. Plus, you get their bank-grade security and global compliance coupled with multilingual account support so you can focus on growing your business. Start paying your sales force instantly with the largest global payout provider to direct selling organizations. Because faster payouts to your distributors means they grow their business and yours faster. Learn more today at payquicker.com. Now let's welcome your host, Wayne Moorhead, and his guest, Heidi Leist.
Hello and welcome to another episode of DSN's Direct Approach podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Moorhead, and today's guest is another inspiring direct selling leader. She's an author, founder, and CEO. And what began as making products for herself and her friends in her own home has grown into a company celebrating its 22nd year. I'm excited to welcome Heidi Leist, founder and CEO of Lemongrass Spa. Heidi, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for inviting me, Wayne. I'm really honored to be here.
Well, we are honored to have you. And again, please tell everybody back there at headquarters, congratulations on 22 years. That is an incredible accomplishment that so few companies really ever achieve. And before we started recording, I was just kind of mentioning how inspiring I found your story. And there were a couple elements that were really related to mine and my family's kind of personal journey with products and with health and wellness. And so it was so much fun for me to learn more. And I'm excited to dig in even more today. Do you mind sharing a little bit about that personal journey that led you from, being a product lover and a product creator in your own home to an entrepreneur and direct selling founder?
Well, I appreciate the question. It has been quite a journey and really just incredible meeting as many people as we have along the way. And, much like many new parents, my desire really to stay home with my children. I was an expectant mom and thinking ahead, it'd just be so amazing to be able to do something where I could stay at home. But then also the personal journey of I wanted to rid my home and my skincare, body care, hair care of toxins. As you start really realizing during the pregnancy journey, everything that I'm ingesting and putting in my skin is being absorbed. And so I became much more aware and became an avid label reader, just like you had mentioned, Wayne, you were as well, and just deciding, wait, I need to think beyond just my own personal use, but how this is going to impact my child. And so when we started making products, I quickly realized, it just fueled my desire also to make this a viable business because I wanted to stay home with my child, be a stay-at-home mom, and then piggyback with the fact that there was just this growing popularity of natural products in the marketplace and not that many places to actually go to make those purchases.
That's fascinating. So talk to me a little bit about that kind of that moment, that decision that you knew you wanted to move from I'm making these products for myself and my friends to I'm actually going to just dive in and start a business.
Well, it's an interesting journey. I started sharing some of the products with my friends, my family, my neighbors, much like any other entrepreneur would do. And I started doing home parties before I ever really launched the product in the direct selling model. I shared products with my neighbors. We would do foot soaks. I had a few products that I was making at the time. And everybody's enthusiasm and excitement was so high for not only the handcrafted nature of the products, of course, my story as being, a new mom, trying to make it out on her own, becoming an entrepreneur, and just having that one-on-one personal relationship with people and hearing what they had maybe gone through that day, helping them relax with some pampering products. And that just became so fascinating, but also so empowering and really enriching for me that I decided this is exactly where I belong. And that fueled my desire to take it a step further, become part of the direct selling model, if you will, and invite other people to journey along with me as consultants in the business.
I love that. And what an incredible opportunity to get that type of feedback on the product, on the potential business from people that you really trust, from people that were experiencing those products for the first time. I'm sure that fueled the excitement. So I'm curious, what was that feeling like for you personally once you made that decision? Was it scary? Was it exciting? Was it all of the above? What did that feel like when you're like, okay, I'm going all in?
Oh, it's scary. It's
Yeah.
intimidating. It's the feeling of, I don't know enough to do this, but powering through that was my desire. Again, I really wanted to stay at home. I think I grew up in an entrepreneurial home. My dad was a business owner, and there everything is figure outable. It's not a word, but a lot of people say it, and especially if you're an entrepreneur, you figure things out along the way. I had that mindset, and so a big piece of that is, leaning into people who had a prior experience, either in this business model or skincare and body care formulations. I took classes. And so that led me to believe and really understand I can absolutely do this. And certainly my heart was into it, but also my husband was my biggest supporter. And so because of all of those things, became very successful.
That's great. And it's interesting how those feelings, those thoughts, the I don't know enough to get started, mirrors a lot of what our consultants, I'm sure, go through as they join a business and onboard and learn about the products and how do I build and how do I recruit and all of these things. So definitely not just from you sharing those products, but also going through that experience gave you, I think, incredible empathy. And I think it's a gift and really a testament to your leadership style, but this kind of theme around everything is figure outable. Having that mindset is absolutely vital to be successful, because it would be so interesting, or it would be so easy to get caught up and paralyzed in all of these decisions and different aspects of a business starting it for the first time. So that definitely speaks to you as a leader. I'm curious, what do you feel as you look at those early days? What were some of those early key decisions that you made that helped set the foundation for the future?
Some of the key decisions were certainly how we were going to do operations, how we were going to do our marketing, and those types of things. But one of the big decisions that we made early on, and it's impacted us in some cases very positively, and I think it's still a good decision, but also maybe it held us back in some areas. But because we felt strongly we didn't want to go into a lot of debt when launching the company, we kept our operations in-house. And it also has given us a competitive edge because we not only manufacture products, but we also distribute the products out of the same facility. So it's been an interesting journey and an exercise to really be good at both sides of that business.
Yeah, that is so interesting from a strategic standpoint, because you're right, there is that decision of, okay, so what are we going to fund? What are we going to buy? What are we going to build? But it's almost seems easier in the early days, like, well, outsource, let's find this expertise. But I found it so fascinating that you kept that manufacturing in-house. Can you talk about the role that has played on the brand and the business beyond just the financial or operations standpoint? How has it impacted the brand itself?
Well, it's kept us nimble. And the leverage that we have is when we want to bring new products to market, be selective in the process of delivering products, but also the purity of our ingredients. We've really held true to that since the very beginning. And while we don't make every single product under our roof here in our Tarpon Springs, Florida facility, we work really closely with any partners that we do have in terms of formulation on products and key ingredients. And that is the foundation and the selective nature that we have in the final formulation and what ultimately goes out to our customers.
Absolutely. I think that is so inspiring to have that level of kind of intimacy and involvement in the manufacturing, in the product, and in the supply chain. And there's more I want to kind of come back to as it relates to that in a moment. But I know in articles I've read, you've talked about the importance of culture. And that is so important, especially in founding a company. And at times it often gets kind of like brushed over, like, oh, we have the greatest culture, and it's more kind of speak than it is actual reality. I'm curious how you approached that. Was it, did you lay out the vision for what you wanted the culture to be and kind of help define it at the beginning? Was it something that happened over time, kind of decision by decision? How did you approach creating this culture in the early days?
I think that's so interesting. Two important things are to have I have a genuine interest in people. And the second thing is the portion of kindness around it. So my interest in people, my passion for really helping others, and with just my own personality, really revolving around treating people with love and kindness. When like attracts like, and there's no arguing that when your vibe attracts your tribe, that that phrase is so true with business, because people would become interested in the products, hear about us, maybe attend a webinar or something that we had, or come to an in-person event, and they decide right away, wow, this is something I really want to be aligned with. But I like her style. I love the way she treats people. And of course, those are the people that we attracted throughout this business. But it holds true with my home office team as well. And so when we train people in our consultant care team, and I have a phenomenal consultant care team, the idea is, how can we make sure we keep kindness within the conversation, collaboration with our field so they feel heard and loved and appreciated, but still operate a business where we're, fiscally responsible, et cetera, really makes a big, big difference. And so we've really attracted people that have those ideals and morals, of course, as part of, their personal alignment as well.
Yeah, I love that. I think I'm going to steal your vibe. It attracts your tribe. I think that's great. And I think that's so true and so important, maybe even more so in direct selling, because it's one of the ways that we can really kind of, segment and attract certain audiences and differentiate ourselves from other direct selling companies, is really through that culture, kind of through that vibe and through that tribe. I think that's amazing. And I think that also, it goes exponential. When a certain core group of like-minded people with shared values really attached to a brand, others see that and identify and aspire to be part of that, and it continues this kind of virtuous attraction cycle. I love that. So jumping in a little bit more to the products, part of the catalyst for you creating this product was identifying this unique need in a marketplace, and you definitely were early on in this kind of toxin-free, clean, natural. It wasn't a big purchase driver for a lot of consumers, including me, including people that I knew 22 years ago. But you saw a need early on, and you went and created a solution for that. I'm curious, how do you continue as you look at the portfolio and all these opportunities that you can extend product into? How do you continue to identify these areas to move into?
Three different aspects that we look at. Number one, product suggestions coming from consultants and customers. Our customer is extremely important to us. And of course, because we have 22 years of experience, oftentimes they'll make suggestions like, I'm using this product, but I really know that those ingredients are not the best. They're not the cleanest for my family. Have you ever thought about making X, Y, and Z in a clean version? So those product suggestions we take very seriously. And And so that's been one driver of some product selections. Another driver, of course, is membership in the CEW, Cosmetic Executive Women's, as well as other resources, industry resources in skincare particularly. Going to the expo events, visiting with suppliers, understanding here's something new that's come down the pike that replaces something that has traditionally been more toxic. Now we have safer options with that. But then also doing our own research and developing cleaner versions of products that people tend to love. The last couple years, a driver for the cosmetic industry as a whole has been TikTok. So it's interesting, products that have gone viral that we're like, oh my goodness, this is really interesting. This is what customers are really demanding now. And, not only following those trends, but being innovative with the way that we like to do our own manufacturing and tried and true ingredients that we know work exceptionally well, along with some innovative ingredients, has really been magical for us over the years.
That's great. I love that you've really kept it kind of consumer and market driven, and the use of social. What an incredible resource to really be able to tap in and see what's trending, what people are sharing, what people are liking, what they're not liking. It is just an incredible resource to tap into. And I love that you've taken that consumer and even kind of social first approach in a lot of ways. So I also found it really interesting that some of those early products are still among your most popular 12, 13 years later. I'm curious, how do you look at that from a product portfolio standpoint in, look, these are our best sellers, these are the best entry points, but we also then have to balance and keep them relevant, keep them up to date. How do you, keep them as popular and as relevant as you can? And how do you think about evolving them over time?
So they've evolved over time through, formulation modifications, of course, reformulation in some cases. And as research and as more information has come out, we continue with our mantra of keeping them as toxin-free, chemical-free as possible. And so with that, we've had to do formulation updates, throughout the years, even with some products that we've had from the very, very beginning. Some of the formulations really haven't changed at all. Maybe we're modernizing the packaging, which is always an exciting process. Of course, we revamped our branding and our label, but also just modernizing the story around that product. Or maybe people have discovered multiple uses for that product. And so now we merchandise and market in a slightly different way. But that's always, the evolution of a product profile. Is that product still relevant in the marketplace today? And if yes, how can we modernize it so new customers are just as attracted to that product as our loyal consumers that come back year after year and continue to reorder it?
I love that. There's so much in what you just said there. One of the things that really stands out to me is looking at the different use cases. Again, I think that gets back to you keeping your finger on the pulse of what's going on with the consumer, what's going on in the market. And instead of just dictating this is what the product does, well, how is the consumer interacting with it, using it, making it their own? And then that can then inform the positioning. I think that's fascinating. Also, the fact that you put an importance on modernizing the story, modernizing the brand. It's so easy to say, hey, this is what worked for us. Like, why change it? Why reinvent the wheel? And I'm curious, as you make these changes in evolution, there will be a cohort of distributors that don't want anything to change. They want everything to stay exactly the same. Is it important to position any of these changes as enhancements, improvements, and not just, oh, we're changing it because, or we've pulled, something out of the ingredient profile? But how do you kind of position these changes or evolution to the field?
Yeah, the key is transparency. So, we'll explain to our field, hey, here is the reason that we're transitioning from this product over to another one, or we're sunsetting this product, but it has an opportunity to come back, maybe in a new form, or we find that it's more popular seasonally. And so instead of being in a year-long catalog, perhaps we do a short bring back. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to get really creative with those products that maybe people are sad that we had to discontinue, but we bring them back in a slightly different way. And a lot of times people are like, I see what you did there. It is better. Or you brought something new to the marketplace that is even better than a product that we used to have. So typically transparency is the key with that, as well as, just modernizing the story and the uses based on what, consumer demands are.
So you're in a really energetic, but also a very crowded category. You've maintained this leadership position around non-toxic, clean, safe, natural products in an ever increasingly crowded category. How do you continue to maintain this leadership position, this level of success, and really stand out from the competition?
Relationships are key to this, Wayne, and that goes with any business. We've built such solid relationships and great foundations with not only our field, our amazing consultants, but 20 plus years of loyal customers. So that has served us in so many great ways to continue to fuel growth as well, because when people know that they can rely upon the transparency of our ingredients, our formulations that are effective, they come back with curiosity every time we have new product launches.
Absolutely. And continue to kind of share that trust and be those advocates and keep the spotlight on your incredible brand, I think, and what you do so differently. I know that product creation is a passion of yours. And I was reading an interview with you where you talked about in the early days, you didn't even realize how much you loved creating these products and the process itself. I'm curious at this point in the company, 22 years in, how involved are you in product development, in product ideation? How do you stay involved, but yet also kind of zoom out enough to run the larger company?
It's a great question. It's all about balance. And if people ask me if you have a balance in your life between all the things, all the hats that you wear, not exactly. I don't think any entrepreneur
Sure.
would be honest in saying absolutely it's completely balanced. I'm still very involved with the ideation of new products and coming up with new product ideas. I have a fantastic team and we all collaborate on product ideas. And hey, we saw this. What do you think about trying it here at Lemongrass? Or we've come up with an idea that may be a suggestion from a consultant or a customer. What do you think about this idea? But another opportunity that we've taken advantage of and it's been extremely successful is trying new product formulations in what we call a Bliss box. And it's been a great way to kind of test out a new product or a new concept. Maybe it's a new scent blend or essential oil blend that we've come up with. And so it's been a great way to really test the waters with a Bliss box and decide from there, how popular is it? Is this a viable option that could be something in terms of a permanent product offering?
Yeah, I thought the Bliss box concept was so interesting on so many levels, not just as a revenue driver, but as you mentioned, also getting consumer insights. Can you share a little bit more about what's the cadence or frequency of a Bliss box and pricing, and what do you put in it? And you mentioned kind of some potential LTOs. If there's excitement around a product, then how does it come back in? But can you just expand on this Bliss box concept? Because I thought it was so great.
Yeah, the Bliss box is amazing. And so typically there's 3 to 4 products offered around $45 to $49, including shipping, which has been a nice perk for our customer. And it's all limited time offer. So we pre-launch the box, meaning you can go in and order it sight unseen. And then a couple days later, we actually reveal what's in the box. And so people get really, really excited about the anticipation of finding out what's inside that box and then continue to order until it sells through. And we typically have complete sellouts with most of our Bliss boxes. The anticipation is fantastic. Again, it's a great way to test out a few new products along the way and really feel like you're getting something that's exclusive. The way it's packaged, the design of the box, as well as the labels coordinating. Plus, they're always built around a theme. So it could be a seasonal theme. During the holidays, we had an extraordinary 12 days of Joy Box, which was really exciting to be able to put a whole collection together like that. But typically they're themed around a process, some sort of pampering experience that you could have in your own home. So when you open that box, we've not only provided with some extraordinary clean products, but a whole experience that you can enjoy, of course, in the comfort of your own home. It has been just an incredible collaboration. Our marketing team, our creative director has really spearheaded this, as well as our production team. And of course, formulating new products are always a part of this as well.
Yeah, it's such a cool concept. And in addition to the Bliss boxes, I think the company and the brand has done such an incredible job with product sampling. Can you share a little bit more about what you do as a company in sampling and what you've found successful?
We've done a number of things, but most recently we've come out with what's called a discovery kit, and a customer can order that through his or her lemongrass consultant. And for $10, we send a trio of products along with a catalog and some other marketing materials to give them an example of what they could experience from our product line. And so some of our best sellers are strategically placed in this discovery kit, and it's just like Happy Mail. And so it's a great way to just get a snapshot of some of the products that we offer. Take a test run with our best-selling product like a vitamin C serum or a new cream or scent that we've offered for the season, and really have an opportunity to give it a try, as well as a copy of our full offerings in our catalog as well.
Yeah, that's great. Getting the consumer to experience and try out the product as quickly as early in the process and as inexpensively is such a great technique, I think. And to the price point where a lot of direct selling companies are going to charge, great premiums in relation to other replacement products or competitive products, you've really gone out of your way to make it very approachable, very affordable. Can you talk about your pricing strategy and why you've kind of set the price value equation where you have?
It's been important for us from the very beginning that our products are affordably priced for families. That's how the company got started in the very beginning. And so we always make sure that within our category, there are products that are attainable for anybody on any budget. Now, when you get into the more innovative formulas with some of our skincare, of course, obviously that's going to demand a higher price because these ingredients are formulated so particularly. Clean ingredients are not inexpensive, but we've done our very best to take a look at our pricing strategy to make sure that people feel like they are getting a luxury product at an affordable price.
If you missed any part of the Spring DSU event or just want to revisit some of the speakers and topics, replays are accessible in the DSU On Demand library. The library is an exclusive resource for DSN supporter companies, one of many benefits designed to help keep you and your teams engaged, informed, and one step ahead. If you work at a supporter company, simply log in using your unique company code to access this event's content, plus over 250 presentations from previous educational events. If you are interested in becoming a DSN supporter, you can contact us at support@directsellingnews.com. We also invite you to join us at the Fall DSU event happening September 23rd through 25th at the Irving Convention Center in Irving, Texas. Registration is free. Visit dsnevents.com today.
I want to get in a little bit to how your business has evolved over time. And obviously, one of the big drivers of that has been social, has been technology. So what started out as very in-person party plan business model has evolved and really thrived in this new social and virtual environment. And your field has done a great job of kind of balancing both in person with the virtual. Can you talk about the role of each of these, maybe what they're best suited for, kind of that use case, and how this has impacted your business?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting conversation, and it evolves all the time with social media and the technology that's available to us now. It's really transformed our entire business over the course of 22 years. Obviously, what's just to your point, what started out as only doing in-person events has evolved into doing, Facebook events. has evolved into WhatsApp parties. People have tried texting parties, and we've also done a lot of training into using all other, technology to be able to still make a viable business utilizing technology and be able to work literally from anywhere. We also still have a lot of our consultant base that really appreciate and look forward to the in-person event. And whether that's meeting a friend for coffee and showing him or her a few products, or going to maybe like a farmer's market or an expo event and doing kind of a showcase of some of our top sellers, or actually inviting a group of people into a woman's home to enjoy some of the experiential portion of lemongrass products, that's all very, very popular here at Lemongrass, and we embrace all of those different ways in which someone can launch their business. We
That's
call it
great.
a social selling business, and some of it's on social media, but honestly, it's that one-to-one communication, that person to person, whether that's through text messaging, whether that's on a phone call, maybe it's even a Zoom demonstration. And we're actually going to be launching a brand new technology at our conference here in just a few weeks.
I know, and I know we can't spill the beans on it. I'm so excited to hear more about it. So I'm going to have to circle back with you. I know a tiny bit about it, and it's really exciting, very innovative. So I'm anxious to learn more. I'm curious on, obviously there were tailwinds, in 2020 that kind of drove some of the shift to virtual and social. But I'm curious from a kind of a how-to, was that really field driven? Did the field jump in and pick it up and understand it? Now this new kind of social savvy generation, or did corporate have to play a pretty large role in saying, hey, look, this is how you can utilize virtual. This is how you can utilize in-person best. Or was it just kind of a co-creation of strategy?
Co-creation, 100%. When many members of our field really wanted to take their business completely virtual, we needed to create tools and training and tips that would work the best, obviously, for different platforms. And so we've tried to accommodate in a number of ways, offering graphics and social media assets. And of course, we've curated thousands of videos, and all of that has really made a huge positive impact on the field in making sure that we have a variety of resources available for our consultants so that they can choose the path that is best for them.
That's great. I'm curious, as you look at the kind of the balance between corporate created assets, and then those that the consultants are creating themselves, are they picking and choosing? Are some just kind of more comfortable at taking that kind of social, almost influencer approach? How do they look at these different assets from kind of a toolbox standpoint?
Oh, that's a great question. We've gone to offering a variety of graphics and resources, as well as placing things on boards and in drop boxes. We've had to get really creative on all the different ways that we actually share out those assets, but it's a combination. And for those that are really savvy with influencer style, they'll often take some of their own photos, but they'll also integrate some of the branding and marketing that we offer as well, and kind of marry the two. So while they may be sharing, and I think this has obviously been very, very effective because they know what works to attract their ideal customer, they build around their marketing strategy themselves on what they know that their customer is really going to appreciate. So many of our social sellers build out their own assets in addition to utilizing some of the branded assets that we have to offer as well. And so a lot of them utilize a combination of both.
That's great. So kind of giving them the fuel that they need, at least enough to get started. But if there's those that are a little more savvy to be able to have this additional fuel source, these additional resources to kind of build out and make it their own, I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, it's up to us to make sure they have product profiles, all the information around what the product does, the effectiveness, key ingredients, and selling points. But then from there, they have the ability to get really creative and market it in a way that they know is really going to attract a customer of theirs.
That's great. I'm curious, Is there anything they're doing that you're really seeing that's super effective? Whether it's platform, whether is it demonstrations? Is it just them kind of, face to camera talking? Or are you seeing them do anything that you're like, wow, that's actually really working, or that's kind of unique and innovative?
There are a lot of things. Many of our consultants also utilize a text messaging platform, and that way they continue to have that one-on-one communication, if you will, with their customer, but also continuing to have virtual events, if you will, or even virtual one-on-ones, so they stay connected to that customer. Many of our consultants have a VIP group, of course, on Facebook, but they also are doing a lot of really savvy social marketing on Instagram using reels. And those 30-second to 45-second reels obviously can be a big attractor. And especially when their customer learns something new about skincare they didn't, or they showcase something about their family that's really fun and exciting, or maybe they've, kind of taken approach of a travel blogger, and they're really showing how this business can be taken on the road. There's so many different examples that we see of how our consultants communicate very effectively with their customer, but also attracting new business that way too.
That's great. We talked a little bit about, kind of the jumping in and figuring out as you go, and that kind of aligns or is analogous to a distributor's journey. But I also know, having you kind of been through this own journey, that onboarding and education has been a primary driver of yours. Can you talk a little bit about what you and the brand do to kind of get distributors in and going, and enough information to get moving without them feeling like, oh, I have to become this huge product expert before I can even start sharing?
Onboarding is always an ongoing project, right? And I think any company owner could probably attest to that, just because, the technology changes so rapidly, and the demands of the field are, hey, make it as simple and easy as possible, right? We have so many other distractions going on in our lives. So we do a number of things to really meet our consultants where they are. So one example is, obviously, when they first start with lemongrass, receiving the information that they need to get their replicated website, and then get onto our app. It's a training app where we have thousands of pieces of resources and assets that are at their fingertips, because the majority of our consultants come in really wanting to run a business from their phone. And so we make it very accessible to them so that they can receive the product assets, as well as video training and understanding how to run a business, mostly from this app. We also have a weekly training for our entire field, and of course that's not only streamed in our app, but it's also available in our Facebook community page. So because we know all consultants come in with different learning styles, we give lots of different options. Some are in written form, others are video, as well as, graphics, and just really how to share that out either socially or in person.
I love the onboarding is ongoing. Again, I think another thing I might steal there. We always look at those first few days, those first few weeks. We know that's so important to get them sharing, to help them get their first check. And then it seems like at times we turn our attention back to the next group, and then the next group of incoming. But I love this idea that it's this ongoing process, continual education. And you mentioned another really important thing there about running the business from our phones. I think this is one of the areas that we know the importance of it, but many of us are behind in this area. I was just on the phone yesterday with a board member of a large direct selling company, and they were saying something very similar. They were talking to their IT department. They were just saying, look, if we can't help somebody run their business from their phone, we're going to be in trouble. So I think that's, important for all of us. And I'm glad that you have also put a priority there. So over the past 22 years, the direct selling landscape has evolved considerably. This has been one of the hottest topics at DSUs, the last several years. What are you seeing, and what do you feel are some of these most impactful changes that are occurring?
There's so many, Wayne, but maybe we just touch on two or three. The
Yeah.
technology piece is a big one. And really, it used to be where we'll catch up to technology or we'll get to that, we're really focused over here on other things, but the technology has to be first and foremost, because that's obviously the gateway to finding your future consultants and customers is through technology. So we put a much bigger focus on that recently, and especially ever since COVID. Obviously, you have to have the mindset of everybody wants to just be able to run their business from their phone. So it has to be much more attainable and really as simple and easy to follow as possible. So that's a big thing. Obviously, because technology is the driver of that, but you still want to have those personal relationships. How do you marry the two? And so I'm still pretty heavily involved with the field in terms of going to in-person events. We host 2 big events a year, but I also do hometown visits, as well as, throughout the years, we've done things like regional trainings to really bring people together in person so they have the human to human aspect and really understanding, just how important that is. And it trickles down into the way that they treat the customer as well as, hey, let's get together in person or one-on-one, or at least make that connection, because that's where that loyalty is going to come in long term.
I'm curious how much time you spend or how you look at that. It is amazing how often you are with the field, these city meetings, these in-home meetings. And I know that goes such a long way in creating trust, establishing those relationships, and in some of the longevity, which I want to kind of swing back to in a second here. But how do you look at kind of dividing your time as it relates back to your comment around balance between being in the field and then being in the office?
Well, I have a fantastic staff, and so I can't say enough about how they do a lot of the heavy lifting, right? And so if I'm just putting my stamp of approval on final things, of course, that's a big help so that I can still be connected to the field. And a lot of the ways that I do that is obviously through Zoom meetings. We have a fantastic advisory council, and it's our top 20 in sales and sponsoring, and we meet regularly, as well as being part of our leader group. So I think visibility is really important as a founder and as a CEO to really understand what does their day-to-day activity look like, and how is the company making sure that they're up to date in the way that we offer them products, in the way that we offer them tools and resources, but also, filling their bucket in the way of building their confidence and enhancing their leadership skills.
Again, another incredible testament to your leadership style and approach. I know that goes a long way, having you out in the field. It's really easy to get caught up in all the operations at the office, and breaking away, I'm sure, is tough. But again, I think it speaks so much to how you lead that company. As you look at today's consultants and distributors, is there this new kind of group, this new generation is coming in? How are they different from maybe just a few years ago? What are some of their drivers? What are they looking for from our direct selling companies that might be different than it would have been just a few years ago?
One of the things they're looking for is something that's quick and easy, simple, easy to understand, get involved with, and quickly earn some money. There's no doubt about that. Gone are the days where it's like weeks and weeks to really get a business up and running. People really want to be able to come in, understand, okay, how do I link to my own, replicated website? How do I earn my first paycheck? How do I get involved? But also, they're very interested in community. They're very interested in the culture and understanding, yes, I want to fit in with this, or it aligns with a lot of my values. And because of that, we're building even a more loyal field, especially if they can earn money or rewards faster, as well as feeling like they're in a place that aligns with their core values.
That kind of gets back to the vibe attracts the tribe, which again, I think is incumbent on us to really help define that culture, define what our values are and how we share those. I think that's fascinating. I'm seeing a lot of that as well, that they are more values driven. It's not just opportunity, but it's opportunity plus. It's got to be with a company and a brand that I believe in. And so I think that's one of the great changes we're seeing. Are you seeing any difference in the level of involvement? Meaning, how many want to kind of run in both feet and build a downline and an entire sales team? And how many are just interested in sharing product? Are you seeing a shift in that at all?
A little bit of a shift, I think, more into more of a like an affiliate style mindset. I want to drop my link, have people order from me because I already have a very busy lifestyle and I want this to be able to fit in. That is not the case everywhere, though. We do have individuals that come in, they really want to build a business. They're very interested in team building because they understand the value and the long-term income potential. And so we have a variety coming into Lemongrass, with all different needs and desires and bandwidth and the amount of time that they actually have to devote to a business.
Absolutely. And again, it's incumbent on us to make sure that we're meeting the needs of each of those unique audiences with unique drivers. So what do you feel as you look across the landscape, and not to be critical, but to be helpful, what do we need to be doing better as direct selling companies in today's social selling world?
Streamlining things, making it easier, shortening things like videos. We try to hold ourselves accountable at Lemongrass as well. People want to be able to get the information quickly, be able to digest it quickly, and just have a bullet point, 1, 2, 3, this is what I need to do, and just be able to make sure that we allow them the opportunity. How can they fit this into their busy lifestyles? How can this just be a nice, easy add-on to what they're already doing in their life? And that ends up being such a win-win for them, rather than for them to come in and try to fit into our model of our way of thinking. It really is accommodating them on where either the products can fit into their lifestyle or their busy families' lives or the way that they want to earn extra income as a business.
So you have been fortunate, the company's been fortunate to have so many of your consultants and customers for so many years. I mean, some are still here from 22 years,
Yeah.
in both categories. How do you approach retention and longevity as it relates to both of these groups? What as a company are you doing besides kind of having this amazing culture? What do you do actively to help kind of retain?
I think that's a great job, and it's something that every company needs to work on if they aren't already in tune with what the retention looks like, whether it's from the field side or building loyal customers. We've added on some additional amenities recently. For example, for our field, we send additional email newsletters to their customers more frequency than we've ever done in the past. We also incorporated a technology recently through digital marketing, is to be able to go to those back to those customers that maybe had an abandoned cart and say, hey, here's a quick reminder, you left something behind. Are you interested in grabbing that? And that isn't something traditionally that direct selling companies have been involved with up until the last few years. And so we're taking a much more strategic and intentional approach to using digital marketing technology to be able to service that customer even better than before.
That is so important. I hope everybody goes back and listens to that again. It is amazing today how we have the opportunity to partner with our distributors like never before, where it used to be, don't talk to my customers, that's their job, they're going to manage it. But we do have these amazing tools, and I'm so glad that you've found success in implementing these things like abandoned cart, these different kind of decision or behavior-based campaigns, because ultimately it's going to help drive sales for their business and help protect their business. And as you mentioned, kind of retain these customers. So I think that's incredible. And I'm so glad to hear that you and the company are doing that. I think it's one of the biggest opportunities we have right now. So shifting into the last couple of questions, you've been so generous with your time. I'm curious from a leadership standpoint, 22 years in, how do you continue to grow and develop as a leader yourself?
That's a really great question. Staying involved with networking groups, I think, is huge. You have to be involved with others with either within your industry or even outside of your industry in business. What is changing, what's evolved, learning from other industry leaders. That's my biggest resource. Obviously, listening to podcasts, tuning into different authors, and really understanding where do we need to put our focus in the next, 6 months, year, 2 years, and make sure that we're staying on top of not only the trends, but things in the economy that we need to be watchful of as well. So yeah, I do a lot of listening to podcasts, authors, resources, and also networking.
I know, absolutely. And you're an author yourself, so you know the importance and impact that great content can have. So what do you feel has been maybe one of the most important leadership lessons you've learned as a founder and CEO of a direct selling company?
There's so many. But honestly, the pillar of this is the building of relationships and the retention of those relationships that you have with your field. They are your spokespeople, they are your sounding board, but also understanding some of their needs while also realizing, okay, as a company owner, how can I continue to fuel them, serve our customers extremely well, but look outside of their circles, and how can we tap into additional growth given some of the strategies and initiatives that we're pushing out to our field, but also to our customers.
I love that it's all about the relationships at the end of the day. Heidi, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for being an inspiration, an incredible example. Please tell everybody back there again, congratulations on your anniversary. Good luck with upcoming conference. And we are excited to hear about some of your announcements. And we look forward to seeing you at the next DSU.
Thank you, Wayne. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for tuning in. Please take a moment to subscribe and give a 5-star rating and review to help Direct Approach continue to provide more candid insights and interviews for direct selling corporate executives. And don't forget to register for the fall DSU at dsnevents.com. Secure your spot now. Thank you for listening and supporting DSN and the Direct Approach podcast.